Elohai be'odi, az amra Elohai be'odi, ahalala, ahalala, az amra Elohai be'odi.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Temple Israel. It's great to be here to celebrate Shabbat at the end of another week. And it's great to be here to celebrate with Justin Silverman and his family as he begins his bar mitzvah weekend. So, Justin, I'm going to ask you and your immediate family to join Cantor Lissick up at the podium to welcome in Shabbat with a candle lighting blessing. Please rise.
Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom. May be seated. Justin, you stay up here with us. Justin's going to lead us in Kabbalat Shabbat, the special psalms and prayers that we recite at sundown on Friday afternoon. As we welcome in the day of rest, we turn in our Sidor Lev Shalem, to page 11. Let us go and sing to Adonai. Let us trumpet praise to our protector. Filled with thanks, let us greet God as we raise our voice in song. Page 11, Lechuner Anana.
Lechu lera lela, lechu lera lela, lechu lera lela, Adonai. Lechu lera lela, lechu lera lela, lechu lera lela, Adonai. Daria, Daria, Latzori, Shir, Nekabavana, Betota. Daria, Daria, Latzori, Shir. Peace be round Daria low. Lechu lera lela, lechu lera lela, lechu lera lela, Adonai. Lechu lera lela, lechu lera lela, lechu lera lela, Adonai.
The heavens shall be glad and the earth rejoice, the sea and its fullness roar, the meadows and all that grows in them exult, even the trees of the forest shall sing praise. As Adonai comes, page 14 in the middle of the page at the red arrow. Justin leads us, Yismechu Hashamayim.
Yisbechu Hashamayim, Yisbechu Hashamayim, Yisbechu Hashamayim, Etagel Haaretz, Yirabhayam, 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 Yisbechu Hashamayim, Yisbechu Hashamayim, Yisbechu Hashamayim, Betagel Haaretz.
We turn to page 20, the final three lines of the page, again at the red arrow, Romamu.
Romamu Adonai Eloheinu v'chish tachavu l'har kodsho. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu v'chish tachavu l'har kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romamu. Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Robibu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavo l'har kodsho Robibu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavo l'har kodsho.
On page 23, we turn to Lecha Dodi, the special mystical song composed by Rabbi Shlomo Halevi Alkabetz in Tzfat that imagines Shabbat coming in. Shabbat takes the form of a bride coming into her wedding day. Justin leads us in the first two stanzas of Lecha Dodi on page 23. After that, we flip to page 25, and for the final stanza of Lecha Dodi, it's traditional to rise in our places and to face the door of the sanctuary as we welcome in Shabbat, page 23, Lecha Dodi.
Lecha Dodi, Lecha Kakala, Pene Pene Shabbat Kabbalah. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Kakala, Pene Pene Shabbat Kabbalah. Shamor Vizahor, Bitibor Echad, Hishmianu Echad Meyuchad, Adonai Echad, Ushemo Echad. Loshim Lotiferet Velika la 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 Dodi Likali Krakala Pene Pene Shabbat Kabbalah Lekha Dodi Likali Krakala Pene Pene Shabbat Kabbalah Likrat Shabbat Lechu Venelcha Ki Mekor Habaracha Mirosh Bikader Nesucha So
Please rise. Pene Pene Shabbat Kabbalah.
Lecha Dodi Likali Krakala Pene Pene Shabbat Kabbalah Boi Vishalom Ateribala Gabisicha Utizola Tok Emune Sigula Boi Kala La 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 Lecha Pene Pene Shabbat Kabbalah Lecha Dodi Likali Krakala Pene Pene Shabbat Kabbalah.
May be seated. Justin Yasher Koach, great job for leading us in Kabbalat Shabbat. You go down and join your family. Justin, I think we'll agree you are probably one of the sharpest dressed B'nai Mitzvah we've ever seen on a Friday night here. That is up there. That is a great jacket. We continue on page 27, a song for the day of Shabbat, Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat.
We begin with a nigun together. Lai, 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 lai. Yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, lai, lai. Yai, lai, 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 yai, lai, lai. Yai, lai, lai, yai, lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai. Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat. Mizmor Shir Leyom HaShabbat. Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Uzamer l'shimcha elyon, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon, lehagid baboker, baboker chasrecha, ve'emunatcha, ba'aleilot, aleazor, Shabbat. Tov lehodot l'Adonai. Tov lehodot l'Adonai. U'zamer l'shimcha elyon. U'lezamer l'shimcha elyon. Tzadik tamar yifrach ke'erez balbanon yizke shetulim beveit Adonai bechatrot Eloheinu yafrichun odinu mesevad shenim verananim yehiu lehagi ki ashar Adonai tzuri velo havlata bo.
Page 29.
Adonai malaki ulavesh lavesh Adonai ozi tazar aftikon tevel baltimot. Mikolot mayim rabim adirim mishbereyam adir bamarom Adonai erotecha nemnu milvitcha navakodesh Adonai leorech yamim.
I invite you to please rise, and as we do each Shabbat, we share the words of Berkat Kohanim, the priestly blessing, together with our children, our families, our friends, our fellow congregants. Feel free to put your arms around the person next to you as we recite the priestly blessing.
And we'll all sing together, Kein Yehi Ratzon. Yevarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha. Kein Yehi Ratzon. Kein Yehi Ratzon.
May God bless you and keep you.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha. Kein Yehi Ratzon.
May God's Spirit shine upon you, and may God be gracious unto you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasim lecha shalom. Kein Yehi Ratzon yasim lecha shalom. Kein Yehi Ratzon yasim lecha shalom. Kein Yehi Ratzon.
May God's Spirit turn unto you, and may God grant you shalom, grant you peace. Kein Yehi Ratzon.
Kein Yehi Ratzon.
May be seated. We now turn to our prayers for healing as we think of those in our lives in need of physical and spiritual well-being. This Shabbat, we include in our prayers Rav Yaakov Chai ben Hadassah, Shimon ben Yaakov Mordechai ben Naomi, Devorah bat Sarah, Hershel Yehoshua ben Malka, Perel bat Rezel, Shmuel Yaakov ben Kalia ve'Ari, Devorah Rachel, Malka bat Sarah, Leib Yisrael ben Abraham v'Tzipora, Aliza Meira bat Leah, Tzivya bat Chana, Elijah Avila, Yafa Fega bat Zisalbina, Kathy Berlin, Abraham David ben Label, Bonnie Meyerson, Tova bat Rivka, Karen Nina Esther, Adina Miriam, Harry Kinney, Kevin Haffey, Ezer Pesach, Zelda bat Yaakov and Miriam, Ben Sion Chai ben Rachel, Leah Liba bat Doba, Miriam bat Rivka, Allison Kuntz, Jean Cook, Dennis Carroll, Aver Yitzchak, Mordechai Chaim ben Leah, Bluma Duva, Malka Sarah bat Ruvain Verut, Hechazan Aryeh Shimon ben Chana, Eleanor Goldman, Ann Stanton, Sophie Galinsky, Harvey Stone, Tom Carney, Sarah Ella bat Aryeh Leb, Daniel ben Israel, Maxine Albaum, Shmuel ben Shimon, Nessia Rafaela Leora, Chana bat Bina, Chaim Yitzchak ben Gittel Fagel, Shmuel ben Regina, Yudit Devorah bat Yitzchak HaKohen, Mitchell Radin, Lieber Ephraim ben Malka, Yaakov ben Moshe, Shneir Zalman ben Chana Mindel, Julie Duke, Binyamin Shmuel ben Yehudit, Talia Weinstein, Albert Cromi, Yitzchak David ben Yael Sima. If you'd like to include someone in our prayers tonight, I invite you to rise and to share the names with me when I come to you. Vet kol hacholim, and all those who are ill. Cantor Lissick leads us in the prayer for healing.
Let's join our voices together. Misheberach avotenu mikor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Misheberach imotenu mikor habracha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
We turn to page 30, and I invite those in mourning or marking a yortzeit this Shabbat to rise and join me in the words of the Mourner's Kaddish, page 30. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divera kirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'vchaye dechol beit Yisrael, ba'gala u'vizman kariv v'yimru Amen. Yehi shemei Rabbah mevorach leolam u'lomei olmaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei, v'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudsha brichu le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechemata damiran v'yalma v'yimru Amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimru Amen. May be seated. Shabbat shalom. You're probably familiar with the expression, what goes around will eventually come around. How many of you believe that? How many of you wish you believed it? Sometimes you believe it. There we go. Well, it's the idea that if someone treats other people badly, or the opposite, if you treat other people well, you will eventually be treated the same way by someone else. We might call that in English karma, but it's also a Jewish idea that the rabbis teach about in the Talmud. And in Hebrew, we might call this idea midah kineged midah, or measure for measure. And the rabbis talk about the idea of measure for measure, midah kineged midah, that God looks at the way we act and chooses to treat us the same way. And that's their way of saying what goes around comes around. Well, when we open the Torah tomorrow to Parshat Vayetze, we're going to read an extended story that might just be about what goes around comes around. It starts with Jacob. Last week, we read that Jacob stood before his father, an older blind man, pretending to be his brother Esav. And as he pretended to be his brother Esav, he convinced his father to give him the bracha, the blessing intended for Esav, for his brother. And his father does. His father buys the deception and gives Jacob this blessing of prosperity. Well, tomorrow in Parshat Vayetze, we read about how Jacob runs away from his home, runs away from the land of Israel in order to escape from his brother Esav, who he has stolen from, who he has tricked, and runs away to his family's ancestral home. And there he starts to build his life as an adult. And the theme of the story that comes up over and over again is that Jacob got where he was by tricking his father, by pretending to be someone who he was not. And so over the course of the story, Jacob is fooled the same way. When he arrives in Haran, he falls in love quickly with Rachel, with Rachel, who we know will eventually be one of the 4 matriarchs. But before he can marry her, he is tricked by his future father-in-law into marrying her sister, Leah, instead. He marries the older daughter instead of the younger daughter. And when he accuses Lavan of tricking him, Lavan looks him in the eyes and says, "It's not our place here, it's not our tradition here to place the younger child before the older child." Lavan looks back at him and says, "I don't know what you do back in Israel, but we don't do that here." Jacob, the trickster himself, doesn't have much of an answer for that. And his life is altered by this decision, by this trick that Lavan plays on him, being tricked the same way that he tricked his father. So the theme of what goes around comes around is there throughout Jacob's entire story. But what I think makes it, I don't want to say realistic, it's a story about a man who marries 4 wives and has many, many children, but what makes it interesting to me is that connection is never explicitly drawn. The name Esav and Jacob's deed in tricking him is never mentioned once over the course of this Torah portion. Jacob goes through life with this memory behind him of what he did in the past, of what he did when he was in his family's home, and sees how his life turns out and the way people treat him. And I think it's a very intentional way that the story in the Torah is written, to reference the story of Esav without explicitly mentioning it. I think it is written that way to teach us that it's never an exact thing. When we do something, there may not be an exact response, either good or bad. But the story challenges us to think that our actions, even if we don't see an immediate effect to them, will have an effect. And it challenges us to think about how we use our actions in the world. Do we use our power, our hands, our words, everything we do to harm, to trick other people, creating a world where it's acceptable to act in that way, a world where someone might do that to us? Or do we do it the opposite? Do we treat people well because we want to create a world where other people will, in turn, treat us well? Jacob winds up as one of the heroes of the story. He is the 3rd of the 3 patriarchs, and he is our ancestor. But his life, in tomorrow's Torah portion and in future ones, teaches us to be careful and remember that what goes around might not come around immediately, but what we put out there creates the world that we live in. Shabbat Shalom. We continue with the Mariv, the evening service, the Baruch Hu, on page 39. Please rise.
La 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 la, ya 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 la 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 la. Baruch hu et Adonai hamivorach, Baruch Adonai.
May be seated. Blessed are you, Adonai our God, ruler of the universe, whose word brings the evening dusk, whose wisdom opens the gates of dawn, whose understanding changes the day's division, whose will sets the succession of seasons and arranges the stars in their places in the sky, who creates day and night, who rolls light before darkness and darkness from before the light.
ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני, המריב הרבי.
Amen. Page 40.
עולם בית ישראל עמך, אהבת כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, והם נגע יומם ולילה, ואבטחת תשים ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל.
Amen.
שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. והם שמעו את ישמעו זאת השם. Adonai Elohechem Emet.
Amunah, close over again. Then Moses, Miriam, and the people of Israel joyfully sang this song to you, Mi Chamocha Ba'elim Adonai, top of page 44.
ומלכותו ברצון קיבלו עליהם משה ומרים ובני ישראל, לחנו שירה בשמחה רבה ואמרו כולם. Let's join our voices together. מי חמוך, מי חמוך באלים אדוני, מי חמוך מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, מי כמוך נהדר, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, אוסף אלה, נורא ראו בניך, בוקע הים לפני משה, זה אלי, זה אלי, זה אלי, ענו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. האלים. מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גל ישראל.
Amen. Allow us, Adonai, our God, to sleep peacefully. Awaken us to life, O Sovereign. Blessed are you who spreads the canopy of peace over us, over all the people of Israel, and over Jerusalem. Page 45, Hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, leshalom. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, leshalom. V'ha'amidenu malkeinu l'chaim, chaim. Ufros aleinu sukkot shlomecha, shlomecha. When I lay down at night, when I lay down at night, when I rest my head, when I rest my head, oh God, watch over me, oh God, watch over me. And when the morning comes, and when the morning comes, we thank Adonai, we thank Adonai, and pray for peace. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim. Ushmor tzitenu vohenu l'chaim u'shalom me'ata v'ad olam, ufroseinu sukat shalomecha, baruch ata Adonai haporei sukat shalom alin v'kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim.
Amen. Page 46, please rise for Vishamru.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. B'nei b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorot brit olam. U'bayom hashvi Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat le'dorotam berit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, יתפלל ויתקדש שמי רבה. ועמד יברח חירותי וימליך מלכותי
בחייכון וביומכון ובחיי לכל בית ישראל. בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב. אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם עולם יומיה. יתברך
וישתבח ויפר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשה
בריחו
לעילא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה
תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בעלמה. Amen. We spend the next few moments in silent prayer with the words of the Amidah, beginning on page 47.
When you've completed your Amidah, you may be seated. Shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
We continue on page 54, Kaddish Shalem.
יתקדע ויתקדע שמי רבה.
אמן.
ויעמד יברח ילותי ומזבחותי וחייכון ומחנה בית בית ישראל בגלה ובזמן קריב אמרו
אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעולם יומיה יתברך.
יתברך וישבח ויפאר ותרומה וינשא ויצזר ויצלח שמי קודשה.
בריחו.
לעילם מן כל ברכתה ושכרתה תשבחתה ונחמתה דמירן בימה ואמרו אמן. תלכה בעצותנו בעצות זוכר ישראל קודם אבוהון וישמעי ואמרו
אמן.
יהי שלום הרב אמין שמעי וחמלין ולכל ישראל ואמרו
אמן.
ועושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו אמן. Amen.
Page 55, please rise for the Kiddush. Justin, come on back up to lead us. I want to invite any kids who are here to join us up here for some Kiddush. Page 55.
Absolutely. Really close to this, but wait a minute. Tell the kids. Are they going to get grape juice? Just wine. Yeah? Is that all the kids? They don't want grape juice? Anyone? Okay.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam bori pri hagafin.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'zotav v'ratzav v'anu v'shabbat kodsho b'ava uvratzon hihil lanu zikaro l'maseh v'reshit kihiyom tehila yikarei kodesh seker li'tat b'Mitzrayim kivanu v'charta Ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'avim V'shabbat kodshecha V'ahava uvratzon hihatanu Baruch atah Adonai b'kadesh ha'shabbat.
Amen. L'chaim. Well done.
Yasher Koach, Justin. We continue with Aleinu, page 56.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליותר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שמנו חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגבי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו עינות, אמת מלכינו אפס ולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום להשיבותה אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, והארץ מתחתנו. ככתוב בתורתך אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד,
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו May be seated. We turn to page 58 for the Mourner's Kaddish. This coming week, we observe the Yortzites of Amelia Solman, Betty Wolfson Shapiro, Blanche Fingold, Helen Reich, Catherine Goldstein, Seymour Malman, Shirley Bucketman, Virginia Livingston, Ellis Levinson, Leon Kirsch, Leslie Abadi, Paul Leifer, Paul Shafranek, Sidney Joshua Feldman, William Golomb, Zalman Kuche, Adele Applebaum, Cora Rose Levison, Fred Listhouse, Morris Oxer, Rachel Katzen, Ruth Newman, Solomon Bykowitz, Thelma Louise Baker, Trinidad Fregoso, Aaron London, Elizabeth Safran, Francis Oron, Leon Kraft, Martha Jacobson, Minnie Brownstein, Robin Marcia Farber, Stephen Lewis Levitas, Charles David Scheckner, Edwin Lewis Farbman, Ida Fellerman, Julius Weinstock, Rhoda Nathan, Anne Freed, Arnold Freeman, Eleanor Glushak, Faye Levinson, Gabriel Podlowski, Julia Stark, Max Steinman, Rose Spitzer, Herbert Karp, Miriam Wallenstein, William Peatluck, Aaron Greenberg, Abe Abel, Alex Weisberger, Barbara Jarrell, Daniel Bograd, Frank Goldberg, Helen Claire Solo, Herbert Shifton, Lee Boxer, Mamie Ravitz, Mary Reel, Max Seidman, Paul Frost, Victor Fergoso. We also extend condolences to families in the middle of Shiva and Shloshim, the periods following the death of a loved one, to Glenn Kaufman on the passing of his father, Milton Kaufman, to Herbert Silver on the passing of his wife, Tema Zipper Silver, to Melissa Altman on the passing of her mother, Judy Schwartz, to the family of Sam Kaplan, to the family of Bela Pransky, to Lois Benjamin on the passing of her brother, Marvin Matthews, to David Rosenthal on the passing of his father, Dr. Jonathan Rosenthal, and to Wilma Azrael on the passing of her husband, Dr. Gerson Azrael. Page 58, Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'yalma divera kirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon u'vyomechon u'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'gala u'vizman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehi shemei rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lamei maya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemei dekudsha b'richu, le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechamata, damiran v'yalma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru, amen. May be seated. Representing the Temple Israel Board of Trustees, I call on Rachel Spector. Rachel, the last time you were up here for Ari's bar mitzvah.
Yeah.
A little less pressure on you this time.
I know, right? Which pulpit would you like?
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's fine. Shabbat shalom, everyone. Welcome. My name is Rachel Spector, and I have the distinct honor of being a member of the Board of Trustees here at Temple Israel. Thank you, Rabbi Wolk and Cantor Lissick, for a beautiful Shabbat service, and pianist Adam Ward and AV specialist Sean Seppert for enhancing our service. I'm thrilled to tell you about a few exciting things happening here at Temple Israel in the coming weeks, but I first want to give my heartfelt congratulations and a huge mazel tov to the Silverman family. My family and the whole Temple Israel community is excited to celebrate with you, Justin, and your whole family, as you're called to the Torah tomorrow as a bar mitzvah. We know you'll do a great job. As I mentioned, Temple Israel has several exciting events throughout December. First, on December 11th is You Raise Me Up, a celebration of love and friendship, which is Temple Israel's annual fundraiser and winter concert. Please come join us and enjoy some amazing music from our own Cantor Lissick, saxophonist Adrian Crutchfield, and Noel Friedline and band, while supporting Temple Israel. Also, Shofar Award recipients Harry Swimmer and Margie Goldstein will be honored that evening. And who can forget Hanukkah, right? We have lots of Hanukkah programs awaiting the whole family. From Wodi Bingo Bash, Social Club's annual Hanukkah luncheon, Torah Tots and Young Family Hanukkah, Hanukkah Pub Trivia and Kids Bingo, to Shabbat dinner, and of course, nightly menorah lighting, we have it all. Be sure to check out all of our programs on the Temple Israel website. So that's it for now. Shabbat Shalom, Mazel Tov Silvermans, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Rachel. First time I've heard you giving announcements. That was great. Following the conclusion of services, Jay and Dina Silverman invite everyone to join them in the memorial gallery. That's a fancy word for the hallway. Outside for a little Oneg Shabbat, some refreshments. Thank you to the Silvermans. Justin, really an incredible start to the weekend. Good job. Let's turn back to page 5 as we conclude our service with Shalom Aleichem.
Shalom Aleichem Malachi Asharet Malachi Elyon Mimelech Malachi HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shalom Aleichem Malachi Asharet Malachi Elyon Mimelech Malachi HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Ay 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 Boachem the Shalom
Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kuni l'shalom Malachei Shalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Kuni l'shalom Malachei Shalom Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malachei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Ay 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 tzedchem l'shalom Malachei Shalom Malachei Elyon Melech Malchei Amlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shabbat Shalom.
Mazel tov.